Welcome. My name is Natasha Sherman, and I am your host. And this show is the second half hour of an interview with Dror Ashuah, who is the author of a series of books starting with Conversation with Angels. The messages are profound, and in the first half hour, we talked somewhat about his personal life also and how life has changed for him. And in this segment, I want to touch on a number of the messages that are significant and helpful for us to hear. Welcome back.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
So, one of the things that it's very difficult for us, as you said, you grew up on a kibbutz. You weren't religious, but there were no angels in your vocabulary, really. And all of a sudden, you're downloading information. So, in this last book, Are You Ready? One of the questions that it was, what is the difference between a human and an angel? And the response was, an angel is a frequency, a vibration of love. When a human has reached such a vibration, they fully embody the energy of an angel. And it's your time now to become a full-fledged angel by claiming your heart and being a messenger of the most precious and powerful vibration in the universe, love. So we've all heard this, we all spout that, love. And how do we get access to that?
I want to backtrack.
Okay.
Angel in Hebrew is malach, and malach means a messenger. We sometimes visualize an angel as something that is kind of an esoteric being that is non-dimensional. In these books, an angel is a metaphor of us, and also being that may be more expanded and maybe unseen, but on the same stretch that we're on. So basically, we are angel in training. And the idea of embodying the angelic frequency is through love. Love is not what you call the feeling that you feel for your daughter or your partner or even your parents. It's a frequency that you carry, which means that you are you're not one person when you talk the good talk, and another person when someone cut you on the highway or step in front of you at the supermarket. That you're carrying a certain energy that changes the molecules around you, and how you get there. This journey is not for the meek, because there's a lot of shedding of programming, of survival. Because anything that is survival is usually aggressive. It's aggressive because you have to fight for resources, you have to fight for this, you have to fight for that.
And it's also fear-based.
And it's fear-based. And it's based on lack. Moving into there's two things. One is intention, and the second is letting go. Letting go of the idea of who you are. So the intention of moving into that vibration is you signaling the universe, I'm ready. And then you don't need to act. You just need to listen. Actually slow down. Slow down, and anything that guides you, you face it. It's very, very accurate. The roadmap is not something that you need to create. It's not a course that you need to take. It's life course. It depends. The tests, as they call it, comes from your children, from your parents, from your body, from your work, from life, from the environment. Everything conspires to bring you into that place of love when you set up the intention. You may not like it, because it could be also challenging, but the rule is that there's no course in the world that can teach you that. It's your life that teaches you. All it needs is your intent to move higher. That's all it requires.
So the challenges will always be there. You will get activated.
It's based on challenges.
So those challenges are an opportunity for you to live into the intent?
The challenges are there to remove layers of old programming of who you think you are.
So that programming is what keeps us from having
From
easy access.
embodying higher frequency.
Okay.
What you receive from your church or synagogue or mosque, what you receive from even from your parents, school, many of the things need to be unlearned, and they call it small death. The death is basically stepping into a place that is unknown. So in the journey of embodying higher frequency, most of the work, you're already there from birth. You already have that connection to the divine. You're already it. And so be it is basically just be who you're meant to be. That's all it is. It's all shedding. It's all removing layers of soot, layer of pain, layer of misunderstanding, layer of programming, layer of dogma, so you can embody your true self, which is already connected to love, and it's already part of the universe.
So, you know, my logical mind immediately kicks into gear because I'm very action-oriented. But before we do that, I think there was something you were going to read, which I think really fits in here into this conversation right now.
Thank you for giving me that opportunity. Being good is a trap. Being bad is a trap. Being free is being neither. Being free is embracing the totality of existence within the spectrum of the rainbow, creating a circle that is a reflection of light, where each hue represents the angle of the light hitting the raindrop. None of it is you, and all of it is you. It is time for you to be free from holding on to how others perceive you. Clear your attachments, free from holding on to how others. Sever the cords, break the chains, and move away from the human angel's ambivalent, duality-based consciousness, acknowledging that once you have crossed the threshold, there is no going back.
Wow. So, again, it's very confronting for most of us to hear, give it all up, break it down, let it go. We don't know how to do that.
You think you're giving something up. You're not giving anything up. You're
releasing things that... Go ahead.
You're surrendering,
okay.
And you're tuning in to what you call the divine plan. When you're not fighting, when you're not busy fighting or busy being busy, you're allowing things to reorganize themselves perfectly. Slowing down is a first good action. When you're too busy, you don't hear anything. When you stop and take time, that's when what you call the whispers or the guidance can be actually absorbed. So we are action-oriented. We are survival-based. We are flight and fright. We are all these things. But these are on a very, very rudimentary, low level of frequency that most humanity, is struggling with. Moving away from it is not easy, but it's opening worlds that you would never imagine that could be, where you don't need to worry. You really don't need to worry. You don't need to be afraid of where the next thing, because you trust that where you need to be led, where you walk is correct. And that's a difference. It's a complete different reality. You're moving from one reality. It's as if you change channels on your TV from one horror story to light comedy. I mean, that's just the difference.
So I think for me it goes back to this whole idea is it's already there. So if you look at babies, you get that they're just fully present, fully engaged, very trusting, there's nothing to be afraid of. They scream when they're uncomfortable, and then they are gurgling with delight. And so it's really, in a sense, allowing that to surface, because it's already there. So we don't have to sweep and effort and...
There's
yes?
a process.
Okay.
The baby is totally is connected to their divinity, to their link to that reality. The more verbal they become, the more forgetful they become. So when they become fully communicative,
Mm-hmm.
that link is almost forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
For some of them, it remains a little bit longer, and we get little glimpses of amazing truisms
Mm-hmm.
from very, very young people. But in our journey is to remember, to remember what we already knew or what we have forgotten. And what you were telling me about play like a child, that's a good beginning. Because children do have that link, that love, that natural flow that we all yearn
Mm-hmm.
to have. What a
Mm-hmm.
beauty.
So it says, at some point it says, get into your heart. It is impossible to be in the heart and to cause harm. It is impossible to be in the heart at the same time that you are being judgmental. When you feel your heart, you are connecting to the greater love field. So
How do you do that?
Yeah.
You stop.
Or how do you not do something?
I mean, the heart is like a brain. It's actually its pulse is stronger than the brain, and when, for example, let's take a day-to-day example. You get upset about something. You've been betrayed by your best friend or your lover or family member, and you have this immense rage or hurt. Stop. And you stop and you begin to focus on the actual organ where your heart is.
Mm.
You just focus on it and you
Mm-hmm.
breathe from it. You breathe in and out from your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Very soon you'll realize that this whole mental rage dissipates, because when you are connected to your heart, you cannot hold on to this.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot hold on to this pain, this hurt. It will come into correct proportion, and you'll be able to forgive or move through or act appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
The heart is an amazing tool.
So I think one of the things that to me that I hear that is most significant is the whole concept of slowing down, to give ourselves time to just be. And it's not even just be and meditate, and meditation is useful, mindfulness is useful, but just being and allowing whatever there is that may be percolating to surface.
It's even more than that. The idea of being is that there's many, many courses that are offered throughout our lives, yoga, meditation, going to retreats, etc., etc. What they're talking about being is that you're embodying a certain frequency. You walk with it. And when you walk with it, you change everyone around you. Even though they won't be able to know what is happening, the fact that you're in the room changes the whole balance in the room. Carrying that frequency is our role. It's just carrying. It's not even preaching. It's not even talking. Not even taking people to teach them. It's actually holding on that love vibration and walk with it wherever we walk.
So that's the intent.
That's the intent. That's a work. That's a work. To be it. And so be it is being that, is carrying that wherever you go. You don't need to preach it. You don't need to hold the medal you want. Other people will look at you like crazy, but you just walk with it. And you change everything. That's a bridge.
Interesting.
Yeah, because we are used to do, that's doing is
Yes.
what we are programmed to do. To
Yes, and I think again, for me, it's like we're, again, how do I get there? How do I get there? And I think from what you say, I think it might even just start with accepting that you are, that vibration is inside of
it's
you.
already in you.
And it's there. It's just tapping into it. And then, yes, no, allowing it.
The work is shedding, is removing the layers that blocks that energy from being embodied in you. So
what
you
would
have
that
it.
look like?
It's
Somebody's listening and says, shed your layers. And they're going, well,
yeah. Well, it's not something that you do. It's something that you allow. It's when I say you set up the intent and all the rest, and you just surrender, mean that when you set up the intent, it's very strong. This is how everything moves in the universe, with intent. When you set up the intent and you're serious, you may lose your job the next day. Don't try to get the same job. When you set up the intent and you have a fight and your partner move away, don't try to think, feel, and allow things to shed from your life. It's a lot of shedding things. It doesn't mean that, again, it's not about trying to get somewhere. You're already carrying that which you need to carry. It's about clearing all the layers of what you call that you don't need to carry. That's a weight, that's a heaviness. To be light, what you call light is not just light, frequency of light, it's being light. And it's being light means that you remove from fear. Sometime when you set up the intent, the thing that you fear the most will come and face you. Mm-hmm. It's not it's not for the meek. Mm-hmm. And when it faces you, you stare it in the eye and you say, okay, I'm ready. And you move through gates after gates after gates of the thing that you fear of. Because fear is what fights light. When you move through fear, you see that there was no reason to fear anything. You don't need to fear for not having or not being loved. All these things that we carry, that we build all these walls of protection, all these need to come down.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I can see where it can get scary because, as you said, you may create the intent and the next day you lose your job. It's very easy to let go immediately, go, oh, no, not that.
That's exactly what happens.
So the intent has to be releasing and going, okay, well, what's next?
Yeah. It comes to you. It's not... Once you set up the intent and you allowing it, you know when your intent is real, When you set up the intent and it's real, the whole universe will conspire to work with you on clearing you and helping you move into that vibration. You don't need to do, just need to listen and not react like you used to. And a lot of times you perceive it as losing. Sometimes it will be an illness that will make you stop. Mm-hmm. That's how we learn. When we are like lying on a hammock in some beautiful exotic Caribbean island, there's very little learning, unfortunately. But when we are in a hospital bed and we're thinking about our mortality and having time to reconsider what the choices that we made in our lives, those are the moments where we take stock and we say, well, I would have done it differently. And when you have the opportunity, you would, or you could. So more often than not, that's how we learn. We learn through these challenges. Yeah.
So as I said, I'm going to be taking little snippets, but one of the things that as we're talking, I think surfaces is it's kind of hard to understand the message because you may be drawn to it, you may want to step into it, but our typical way of approaching things is give me the roadmap. And so a roadmap is not available. It's kind of just paying attention, and there are some ideas that are
There is a
rules.
roadmap. There's a very clear roadmap.
And that is?
But it catered to you, to your life, individually, accurately, and
So
you only need two, and you only need, there's just two elements that has to be fulfilled. And the first one is intention, and the second one is letting go.
Right.
That's it.
But we want to get into specifics as humans, and so one of the things that I talked about before is this idea of when you're confused and confronted by, well, what does that mean? I just suggest you pick up one of the books and open the page, because in the past, it activates something.
That's exactly that.
And so it's really like listening, and something gets activated. I may not see the clear, the 20 steps, but in that moment, there is something that you can reach for and listen.
All the messages are catered to help you move through that process.
Yeah.
Every single one. And not only that, but they call it laced with love energy. What it means is that it's like a melody. There's like a melody of vibration in the words that supports you. I felt it very physically, because when I write, I don't read it. I don't know what I don't really know what I wrote. So I read it later, and I literally felt how my vibration changes, and it supported me through. So these books are meant to hold your hand while you're walking through it.
Yes.
There's those messages. And I received, and I still do receive, a lot of help. I'm not there. It's not like I arrived.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Like, people can look at this and go, well, you're special. You were chosen. So it's easier for you. So talk about that.
I want to negate that concept fully. Not only that I'm not special and I'm just like anyone else, like one person aim or core passion is to paint, and another one to write music. I receive this as my chore, as my soul work. That does not make me special. Anyone who would take that could reach these messages and could receive it. These messages are not, they're not, they weren't catered individually for me. They're out there. And there are many people that receive those kind of truth. I was just available at that time and accepted it as something, and there's a tendency to give power to other people that you think they know, and I think that that's counterproductive. I think that we all have that power, and we all have different roles to play, and I happen to play that role.
And you are the messenger. You are the vehicle through which this message came, and it hasn't protected you from your humanity.
No. And I have to go through all the challenges that anyone else. If I would have shortcuts, I would take them. I didn't have any shortcuts. Yeah. I went through the same journey, the same pains that anyone else
Doesn't
has to go through.
Doesn't that tick you off?
It does. Pisses me off every day. I'm like, can I get something out
Give me a break.
Yeah, can I, and even things that I would like to know personally about my own life to help me through. You think I'm getting them? No.
No, you're the
vehicle. I go through like anyone else.
This is one of the things that I really love. You are all explorers, and you come here to explore self in relationship to everything around you. And each of us has a different specific journey, evolution, But here's the thing that I thought, if we could just operate from this, because we're all fear-based, we're all in survival mode, we all are self-protective, and this says, when you know that you are loved and never judged, when you know that you are protected, when you know that you are eternal, you are able to get into the gate of the abyss and face yourself. So it's like the idea of just operating and taking on that assumption, operating from, I'm safe,
Yeah.
I'm loved, I don't have to prove anything.
Can you imagine? You're
Life
never being
alters.
judged.
Life alters.
I'm Jewish, imagine. No guilt. I'm saved.
And you know, it's again, intent. For me as a coach, I talk a lot about intent, but when I read this, I thought, gosh, you know, it's just today if I woke up and said, my intent today is to assume I'm safe, I'm not being judged. Just assume it. Because when I think I'm being judged, I'm also making an assumption, you know, make a better assumption, one that's more empowering and freeing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just operating from that context. One of the other things, and we don't have much time, but this whole concept of self-love, and they talk about how everything has to start with self-love, and most of us are self-loathing, and we look at it as from an ego point of view. You know, how can I love myself? All my warts and yuck and all that stuff. So talk a little bit about how to get access to self-love, because that's where it all starts.
Self-love is the core of pretty much, if I would sum up the 4 books, it would be the roadmap to self-love. And self-love is full acceptance of who you are without judging bad or good, without looking at achievements, without comparing to anyone, and understand that you came here as a unique vibration, unique melody, and that there will be no one like you ever, not in the history and not in the future. And you came here with a unique gift, and not the gift that the universe wanted you to gift to the world. And you have to find yourself, and to find it, self-love, accepting and understanding your uniqueness and your beauty is how you spread that gift. And from self-love, you can actually share the love. You cannot share love that you don't have. You have to start from the self.
And when you talk about you are a unique melody, you are I mean, how extraordinary is that? Like, would that we could start to operate from that?
Yeah.
Like, there is no one, never has been anyone, never will be anyone exactly like me. Mm-hmm. Now, how can I share that? Wow. So when will so all the books are available on Amazon. When will this book?
All of them are being redesigned, so within a month.
Okay.
They should all be available within the new format.
So we have a minute left. What would you like to say?
I'd like to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. I'm honored. And I just want to spend the last few seconds in talking about the reflection that everything around us is actually us. So the people that we see as challenges, the work, the environment, we a lot of time subscribe to being a victim. Mm-hmm. And when we take full responsibility for our lives and we understand that everything is a reflection, and everything is within us, we can start to change it. So taking full responsibility for your life is the first step.
Thank you.
And loving.
And yes,
embracing
let's not forget that. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been so great to have you back. It's been a while. And I invite people to explore the messages because they are profound. My name is Natasha Sherman. Thank you for joining us.